Hello everyone and welcome back to another virtual tour with Brightspark. My name is Tamara and today we are in the wonderful city of Toronto. Toronto is the capital of Ontario. It's home to the Raptors, the CN Tower, to Drake, and just under 3 million people. We acknowledge, as does the city of Toronto, that we are currently on the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississauga of Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples. And it is currently home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. This area has been home to many Indigenous nations for over 11,000 years. The name Toronto comes from the word Takarano, which means the place in the water where the trees are standing. This is said to refer to the wooden stakes that were used as fishing wires in the local rivers by the Haudenosaunee and Huron-Wendat peoples. Sometime in the mid-1700s, just for under a decade, there was a small trading post located on the current grounds of Exhibition Place. In 1796, John Graves Simcoe founded Toronto and called it York, in honor of the British Prince Frederick, Duke of York. It became the capital of Upper Canada, was incorporated in 1834, and the name was changed to Toronto. The city is constantly growing. Do you notice any cranes in the background? Out of all of the cranes that are used in North America, Toronto currently has 30% of them. That's 124 cranes. Seattle is next closest with only 34. Currently, we are standing on one of the Toronto Islands. The Toronto Islands are a chain of 15 small islands known as the largest urban car-free community in North America. The only way on and off is by ferry and water taxi. Many people come here to go to the beach, to enjoy nature, bike ride, rent a canoe or paddle boat, and of course, for this incredible view. Let's go take a closer look. If you've ever traveled to, from, or within Toronto, there's a good chance that you've made it to Union Station. This is Canada's busiest transportation hub, seeing over 300,000 visitors a day. From here you connect to the Via Rail, the subway, and to-go trains and buses. And you can also shop and dine. In 1975, the Union Station was designated as a National Historic Site, and it still represents one of the finest examples in Canada of classic Beaux Arts architecture. Public transportation is not the only way to get around in Toronto. There's also the Path. It's a mostly underground pedestrian walkway network that spans for 30 kilometers. From here you connect to 50 office buildings, 20 parking garages, 5 subway stations, and 1,200 stores. A quick tip so that you don't get lost in the maze down there is that each color of path represents a direction. The red P is south, the orange A is west, the blue T points north, and the yellow H is east. And now we're heading west to our next destination. We just walked through Union Station and the Path and are currently in a very popular spot for sports fans. This is Scotiabank Arena. It is a multi-purpose arena that hosts sports games, concerts, and other large capacity events. It is home to the NHL Toronto Maple Leafs, the NBA Raptors, and the Toronto Rock. Standing outside Scotiabank Arena, this public square goes by 2 names. Officially known as Maple Leaf Square, it has also adopted the name Jurassic Park due to the Raptors. The square holds outdoor viewing parties of significant games and can accommodate 5,000 people. What is the first thing you think of when someone says Toronto? For most, it's the CN Tower, the iconic building that makes up Toronto's unique skyline and brings more than 2 million international visitors every single year. The CN Tower is 553.3 meters tall. It was completed in 1976 and it held the record for the world's tallest freestanding building for 32 years, until 2007 when it was passed by the Burj Khalifa in Dubai. Today, it is the 9th tallest in the world. For those seeking adventure, you can try the Edge Walk that lets you walk on top of the CN Tower. Directly next to the CN Tower is the Rogers Centre. The Rogers Centre is a multi-purpose stadium that is best known as being home to the Toronto Blue Jays. But it also hosts events, concerts, conventions, and even monster truck shows. The entire area that we're in right now is called Roundhouse Park due to all of the trains and the famous turntable, all of which are now part of the Railway Museum. Under the CN Tower on the other side is the Ripley's Aquarium. This aquarium has 5.7 million liters of marine and freshwater habitats from around the world. The exhibits hold 16,000 exotic sea and freshwater specimens. They even have a gallery dedicated to glowing jellyfish. Did you know that jellyfish aren't really fish at all, but a type of plankton? That's because they can't really swim and they rely on ocean currents. Now, time for us to float over to our next destination. Right now, we are in Nathan Phillips Square, located in the heart of downtown Toronto and right in front of City Hall. This is Canada's largest city square, and underneath it is one of the world's largest parking garages. The curved buildings you see behind me are City Hall. The design for these buildings was chosen through an international competition, and the winner was Viljo Revel of Helsinki, Finland. At Nathan Phillips Square, there is also a reflecting pool that passes under 3 arches. These arches, although originally created just for lighting, were dedicated as Freedom Arches in 1989. There's also a piece of the Berlin Wall on the southern base of the Central Arc. And in the winter, the pool freezes over and becomes a very popular skating rink. Now we are going to visit the most visited tourist attraction in all of Toronto. It has been in over 120 million posts all over social media. It's the Toronto sign. Originally installed in 2015 for the Pan American Games, it was meant to be a temporary installation. However, due to huge popularity, it quickly became a permanent addition. The medicine wheel was added to honor Indigenous peoples, and it was unveiled to raise awareness for National Indigenous Peoples Day, which is on June 21st. In September of 2020, a new Toronto sign was added to replace the old one. This new sign is more durable and it features a changeable vinyl wrapping. The current vinyl design is artwork titled Patterns of the People. It is to honor the United Nations International Decade for People of African Descent. And lastly, the 3D maple leaf all the way at the end was added to celebrate Canada's 150th birthday. This is Queen's Park, an urban park located just northwest of Nathan Phillips Square. The park was opened in 1860 and it was named after Queen Victoria. It also houses the Legislative Assembly of Ontario, which is the government of Ontario. This is where 124 elected members of provincial government debate topics of provincial interest. The Premier is the head of government. Although Queen's Park is just the grounds that the government sits on, the name Queen's Park has become a metonym for the Legislative Assembly of Ontario and the Government of Ontario. Here we are on our final stop in our tour of Toronto, the St. Lawrence Market. Back in 1803, when Toronto was still called York and the population was growing very, very quickly, there was a need for a public market. The original market was called Market Square, and it very quickly became the center of Toronto's social life. People came here on Saturdays for food, auctions, and even public punishments. Today, it is still a great place to meet up with friends and try some local foods. Like this pea meal bacon sandwich that I get to try. Yum! Thank you so much for coming with me on our trip of Toronto. I hope you learned something new about this amazing city. Oh my god.